Smith's final ultimatum to Carney on Alberta's wealth as Poilievre celebrates energy victory. Premier Danielle Smith has made it crystal clear: Alberta will not stand by while Ottawa imposes policies that threaten its prosperity. In a pointed meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney, Smith issued what many are calling a final ultimatum: respect Alberta's constitutional authority to manage its own resources, or prepare for a confrontation that could reshape Confederation. With mounting frustration over federal interference, Smith's message is resonating beyond her province, amplifying a broader call for decentralization and economic sovereignty. Smith's grievances are rooted in the economic reality of Alberta, a province that has built its wealth on energy, agriculture, and entrepreneurial grit. In her view, the federal government, now led by Carney, continues to layer on burdensome regulations that stifle investment and delay critical infrastructure projects. From emission caps to project moratoriums, the policies coming out of Ottawa are seen not just as bad economics, but as deliberate roadblocks to Alberta's future. And Smith isn't just warning of economic consequences. She's sounding the alarm on national unity, warning that many Albertans are growing tired of a system they feel exploits their contributions while ignoring their concerns. Smith's position isn't an empty threat. While she doesn't support Alberta's separation, she has publicly acknowledged the rising support for a referendum on the issue. Her political stance signals that unless Ottawa changes course, calls for independence could become impossible to ignore. It's a reflection of long-standing tensions between the West and the federal government, tensions that are now reaching a boiling point. Smith's government is openly pushing for control over pensions, policing, and taxation, asserting that Alberta is not just a province, but a partner that deserves respect. Meanwhile, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is offering a clear contrast to Carney's federal approach, one that focuses on removing obstacles rather than erecting them. In a major announcement that energized supporters, Poilievre unveiled plans to fast-track permits for major resource projects and invest in critical infrastructure, like the Ring of Fire mining region. It's a vision rooted in pragmatism: get shovels in the ground, create jobs, and build prosperity through Canadian energy. While the Liberals tangle themselves in red tape, Poilievre is showing what government can accomplish by stepping out of the way. Poilievre's approach is more than just rhetoric. It reflects a broader belief that energy security is national security. His push to streamline environmental assessments and reduce permit wait times is part of a larger effort to restore investor confidence and revive Canada's global competitiveness. He wants to turn Canada into a destination for responsible, high-value energy projects. And central to his message is that Canadians shouldn't have to choose between environmental stewardship and economic opportunity. They can and should have both. In the background of this high-stakes energy debate is a powerful and often underrepresented voice: Ellis Ross, the Conservative Shadow Minister for the Environment. A proud member of the Haisla Nation, Ross brings first-hand experience in overcoming economic hardship and transforming opportunity into progress. As the former chief counsellor who helped bring the $40 billion LNG Canada project to life, Ross understands the importance of economic development, not as a political talking point, but as a pathway to dignity, self-reliance, and generational change. Ross has long argued that Indigenous communities should be at the center of Canada's energy future, not as bystanders, but as leaders and partners. His success with the Cedar LNG project, the first Indigenous majority-owned LNG facility in Canada, is a testament to what's possible when government gets out of the way and communities are empowered to lead. He speaks often about economic reconciliation, not just as a slogan, but as a shared prosperity where Indigenous and non-Indigenous Canadians alike benefit from development done right. This model of development represents a serious challenge to the current federal mindset. While Prime Minister Carney advocates for balance between climate goals and resource development, critics argue his policies lean heavily toward appeasing international climate lobbies at the expense of domestic growth. For provinces like Alberta and communities like Kitimat in BC, the cost of this imbalance is felt in lost opportunities, stalled projects, and frustrated workers. Carney's vision may appeal to urban voters focused on global targets, but it often clashes with the lived realities of people who depend on resource industries to feed their families and build their futures. To his credit, Carney has made efforts to present a more cooperative tone. In his recent meeting with Smith, he acknowledged the need to build more pipelines and speed up permitting processes. But those words are competing with a record of federal delays, environmental legislation that critics call overreach, and a deep skepticism in the West that Ottawa will follow through. Carney's challenge is to rebuild trust, not just through speeches, but through action that respects provincial jurisdiction and economic realities. The clash between Smith and Carney symbolizes more than just a policy disagreement. It represents a cultural and constitutional divide that's been growing for years. Alberta, and increasingly other provinces, are asserting a desire to reclaim authority over the decisions that affect their futures. This isn't about abandoning environmental responsibility. It's about making room for local knowledge, regional strengths, and grassroots leadership in how Canada moves forward. And while Carney speaks of balance, Poilievre is moving quickly to show results. His $1 billion proposal to develop Ontario's critical mineral sector isn't just about resources. It's about unlocking Canada's potential in the global clean energy transition. He's also proposed tax-sharing mechanisms with Indigenous communities, aiming to ensure that development lifts all boats. For Poilievre, energy is not the problem. It's the solution. It's the bridge to prosperity, national unity, and environmental advancement when done responsibly and in partnership with local stakeholders. This emerging dynamic, Smith's push for autonomy, Poilievre's investment in growth, Ross's blueprint for Indigenous-led development, forms a united conservative front that challenges the centralizing tendencies of the Liberal government under Carney. Their shared message is that Canada's future doesn't lie in more federal control, but in more local empowerment. It's a message that's beginning to resonate across provincial lines, in rural communities, and among Indigenous leaders looking for a different kind of partnership. Canada's path forward is now being shaped by a defining question: who decides? Should provinces have the right to chart their own course, particularly when they carry the weight of the country's economic engine? Should Indigenous communities be passive recipients of policy or active leaders in their own development? And can a federal government led by Mark Carney adapt to the demands for decentralization, or will it continue to assert a national vision that overlooks regional realities? In this moment, the political stakes couldn't be higher. The battle lines are drawn, not along party lines alone, but between two fundamentally different visions for Canada's future. One driven by Ottawa's top-down mandates and international aspirations. The other grounded in regional self-determination, economic freedom, and a belief in Canada's vast potential when its people are trusted to lead. The country is watching, and perhaps for the first time in a generation, the West isn't just speaking up. It's leading.